There's a method to the madness.
Tony, I be hoping you be. Hold on. Tony, I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You only say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you.
No, don't think that.
I ain't see nothing positive that you ever say.
The fewest reps in camp, and he's got a sore arm. Why? Well, people say he throws a lot before practice and after practice. Well, how counterproductive is that?
After Shedeur Sanders' explosive performance, one person wasn't getting a free pass, Tony Grossi. Known for his relentless criticism, Grossi had never once said anything good about Shedeur. But this time, Shedeur wasn't staying quiet. With fire in his eyes, he stepped right up to Tony and said, "So, Tony, you finally got something positive to say about me now?" Then he pressed even harder, "You've always been negative about me when I've done nothing to you. Why is that?" The air was thick with tension. Was Tony Grossi actually caught off guard by Shedeur's bold call-out? Did he feel the heat? Could this fiery moment flip their relationship for good? Shedeur Sanders' bold questions left Tony Grossi stunned. The veteran reporter, clearly irritated, couldn't mask his frustration. It was obvious the exchange had hit a nerve, but let's be real, he brought it on himself. Shedeur had every reason to clap back after years of biased shots thrown his way. And just when it felt like the tension was about to explode, Sanders broke into a laugh, revealing the whole thing was a setup. A tense moment quickly flipped into playful banter, but deep down, Shedeur knew the truth. Tony Grossi had been unfair, and if his criticism stung, he'd better learn to take it. Grossi had always been quick to throw shade, and his latest jab at Shedeur Sanders was no different. When Shedeur casually mentioned his arm soreness, Grossi pounced. On live television, he mocked Sanders, claiming he somehow got sore after taking fewer reps than any other quarterback on the roster. It was a bold and dismissive shot by Grossi, undermining Sanders' dedication and toughness. The jab was harsh, pouring gasoline on the fire that had already been raging between them. But instead of folding under the negativity, Shedeur stood firm, fully aware that Tony's words would never define who he is.
Counterproductive because he's got a sore arm.
Okay, so you're using that as a negative against the kid?
I don't understand.
Jesus, God, would you give him a chance?
Well,
My God, because his
thing.
arm's sore?
Yeah.
What, that's a negative? That the kid's got a sore arm?
Yes!
Because he's working too hard?
Shedeur Sanders fired back at Tony Grossi and every other critic in the most devastating way possible, by absolutely dominating on the field. 2 touchdowns, razor-sharp passing, and impressive rushing yards. Shedeur shut his haters up, proving he could back up every bit of his talent. But even after silencing the noise, we all know some people, like Tony Grossi, will never be satisfied. They'll keep pushing their negative agenda. And right on cue, another voice jumped in, Cam Newton. The former quarterback has now joined the chorus, throwing shade and casting doubts on Shedeur's performance. This battle is clearly far from over. Cam Newton, never shy about speaking his mind, quickly downplayed Shedeur Sanders' immaculate passes in the game. He claimed that the real measure of a quarterback isn't just in the throws, but in what you've got from the neck up. According to Cam, it's about reading the defense, recognizing pressure, and making the right decisions under fire. He argued that while Shedeur's physical skills are undeniable, it's the mental side, reading defenders, anticipating movements, and staying calm under pressure, that will truly decide his success.
The 5th round pick. Put your head down and grind. The game is not just about completing the pass. The game is more focused on the neck up. Hey, what's my side adjust? Hey, who am I hot off of? What's my signal right here? What coverage are they in? Those are the things that if I'm Shedeur, I'm worried about. I ain't worried about what the popular pick.
Like, seriously, Cam Newton is saying this? Hard to believe, especially if you actually watched the game. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just throwing passes. He was dissecting defenses, making split-second decisions, and driving the ball downfield with surgical precision. Legendary coach Herm Edwards, the ultimate seasoned strategist, had the perfect clapback to Cam Newton's critique. Edwards broke down Shedeur's touchdown with the sharp eye of someone who's seen it all. He praised the instant read Shedeur made, spotting a tiny opening right after skillfully dodging the defense. Most quarterbacks would have second-guessed themselves, unsure if the window was big enough. But not Shedeur. The moment he spotted that tiny opening, he fired the ball through with pinpoint accuracy. Edwards, clearly impressed, made it crystal clear, that's the kind of play you rarely see from a rookie. It was a veteran's move, proof of Shedeur's poise and football IQ far beyond his years. But deep down, we all know Cam Newton is just playing the same tired role Tony Grossi has when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. He's the guy who never gives Shedeur credit for his electrifying performances and constantly works to smear his character. During the draft, Cam even hinted that Shedeur had a habit of dodging real competition and tough challenges. He implied that Shedeur's confidence sometimes crossed into arrogance, like he genuinely believed no one else in the draft class was on his level. It was a slick, underhanded jab, and just like Grossi, it felt way more like a personal attack than actual football analysis.
The thing about Shedeur, I am the guy that's been pushing him to the greatness. I want to see Shedeur picked early. I want to see Shedeur picked as the first quarterback taken off the board. But Shedeur also does not want to be challenged. I said certain things that I'm just keeping it a buck and just say how I feel. That doesn't negate how I feel about him, his brother, his other brother, his sister, and his father.
The reason I'm calling Cam Newton the Tony Grossi of this situation is because, just like Grossi, Newton keeps pushing the narrative that Shedeur Sanders isn't ready for the first team yet. Grossi's been hammering the same point for ages, that Shedeur supposedly needs at least 4 years before he can truly be a starter. He's made it crystal clear that, in his eyes, Dillon Gabriel is the more polished quarterback, the one who could step in and perform at a high level far sooner than Shedeur ever could. Grossi kept insisting that Shedeur needed a long time to catch up, while Gabriel was the instant, ready-to-go option. Tony Grossi has always pushed a clear agenda against Shedeur Sanders. But what's even more telling is his total silence when it comes to Jimmy Haslam. When Haslam tried to shrug Shedeur off, saying there was no reason for the Browns to be painted as the bad guys, Grossi had nothing to say. Grossi said nothing. He stayed silent while Shedeur was being brushed aside, even though it was obvious the young quarterback was being undervalued. Haslam even went so far as to claim the Browns only drafted Shedeur because they believed he was better than a 5th-round pick. And still, Grossi kept his mouth shut.
Well, the GM and the owner both said because value. He was worth more than a 5th-round pick. So I don't know why the Browns are like the bad guys in what's going on here.
Right.
That they mistreated him. They treated him better than 31 other teams.
Shedeur keeps proving the doubters wrong, climbing higher with every game. The critics who once mocked him now have to watch him shine. This is just the beginning. The best is yet to come. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to follow his journey.